Well, welcome back to the Maturity Project. I'm your host, Chad Everett Broshears. Oh, it's a conversation that has been coming up. Oh, and what I hear from actually quite a few people that watch the channel uh, pretty consistently is what really resonates to them is failing up. So I wanted to take a second to make another video about kind of failing up and the experience of it and kind of how do you build a foundation of what it's like to fail up. So everybody's going to have their own unique approach to things. We all do. We all have our unique lives. We all have our way that we see reality, the way we interact with people, the relationships that we've cultivated, and then how we have a specific plan or some idea about the future self, right? Who we're going to be in the future and what we're going to work on creating that person into. So you got decisions that you know you're going to need to make, and you're going to have to make new decisions when things come up that you're unfamiliar with, but you're trying to hold that something true to yourself about who you're becoming. Well, the details that are typically not added into that is the foundation of failing up. Because all of us are familiar with failing in some way. You don't really lose when you fail up. Hell, you don't even really lose when you fail. It's how you decide the failure is, how it affects you and what it really means to you. So if you look at it as you tried something and didn't work, okay, good. That doesn't mean necessarily to fully abandon the thing that you tried. You could try other things that are associated with that particular effort. It's like, yeah, I tried painting the house this way, and then it didn't work that well. Then you switch it over and you try painting the house another way, but you're still the goal is to paint the house. So you're still working on that one direction, and you just take out the things that were less efficient or less effective. So failing up is you take out the things that don't really work that well. But you keep putting yourself out there. Another really important piece is that what does it look like to you? What do you make it mean about you whenever you fail? Do you make it mean that you don't look good or that you're wrong and that you should be ashamed and hide it? Or is it something that you can actually kind of turn into a game? The people that I've loved being around the most whenever they're failing are the people that make fun of it. I don't mean like necessarily make fun of it like, some sort of like, ugly humor about themselves. It's kind of like just goofing with it. It's like, yeah, I suck. Like, I'll tell you, if you know me, I'll tell you, I suck at a lot of things. I'm working on getting better at everything. That's what the maturity project's about. As soon as you realize you're not so good at or you're not so good at something, excuse me, when you realize you're not so good at something specific, you work on it and keep practicing. I've done a lot of martial arts in my life. I'm not going to be entering any rings or anything. And if a fight breaks out in public, there's a pretty good chance I don't want to be involved, unless I have to. And I really prefer that be rare. You know, I don't really have a whole lot to prove in that, but I have done a lot of martial arts, so a lot of self-defense conditioning. I have got my butt kicked a lot. And by people that if you knew that they kicked my butt, you'd be like, "What the hell is wrong with you, Chad? That person is whatever you assume that person is based off the way they look." Now, and then you got other people who are like, "Yeah, it makes sense that person just destroyed you, uh, because they look like they should be able to." So it's just fascinating to me that like how many times I've actually just said, "Screw it." Yeah, all right. Well, I guess I'm going to have to roll with this girl today instead of the dudes that I'm familiar with rolling with. But I don't really have a problem with that in the martial arts sense, and especially mixed martial arts or jiu-jitsu. They typically refer to it as rolling. So I'll roll with you. No, I'm not going to tell you I'm going to kick your butt. That's not the way that I do it anyway. I want to make everybody better. And I've willingly have lost, matches. It's not really matches in the dojo, but it's like whenever you're paired up, I've willingly just like coach people through what's necessary to get me. It's like, yeah, no, put your arm this way and go through that, and then pull here, put a little bit of weight there, and pull your body this way, and then they got me right. I'm like legitimately, I'm tapping. But I helped you kind of weave yourself into what you needed to do. So that's my thing. I really do like to help people achieve different degrees of success because I know that a lot of people they just need that gentle encouragement. They need that support. So the way that I've chosen to take on failing up is to really put it out there in kind of a playful way. Just the same thing with the videos. Like when I put this stuff out, it's not that it doesn't come from a place that I think I'm not, I'm gonna look amazing. Like I'm gonna put out a video and it's gonna change everybody's life. It's no. I come from, yeah. I'm probably gonna get ridiculed over this, or somebody's gonna say something that could be taken in a way that's negative about it. And I'm like, cool. You know, it doesn't mean that I'm not going to read it and immediately the first reaction is going to be like, oh, thank you, and be legitimately sincere about it. I'm likely going to read it and be like, you son of a, they'll be like, wait a minute, let's have fun with this. Because look, I don't look good all the time. I don't do the right things all the time because there's a degree of what's right and what's wrong based off whatever your goals are. And a lot of these goals don't have the patterns associated with an absolute tried and true validity to do it. It's you got to try it. You got to do things. So you keep practicing and keep trying. So you don't lose unless you just give up. Now, don't give up. Just keep trying. You know, Me going into the gym for the very first time, like, actually, it's kind of a bad example because I was introduced to exercise like 8 years old, thanks to having an older brother that's almost 4 years older than me that believed himself to be a personal trainer at the time, or at least was filling the idea in his head with his friends that he was a personal trainer. And I participated as his client. And yeah, so I was introduced early, and then Arnold Schwarzenegger with the movie Twins and all of that stuff. So, but because that was a timeline. Um, yeah, my brother was pretty good at what he did, by inspiring me. But I failed a lot along the way, But back then I didn't really care. As a kid, they typically don't care as much when they fail. They just keep playing. They're like, oh, okay, cool, and I'm gonna keep playing. But as adults, we get this like the idea of permanency based off of that. And I'll tell you now, if you have friends in your life that are going to hold something permanent against you because you tried and you failed something with absolute sincerity and genuine desire to do the virtuous thing or to try to develop yourself, to just better yourself in other people's lives, and they hold you back from it, they're a crab in a bucket. Now, it doesn't mean they can't change over time, but that does mean like how much weight do you put on what they say about you? And that's something to put into play, which is, yeah, I get it. You're afraid to take actions that can change your life. And because I'm reminding you that you are not willing to take those steps, then you should probably try to pull me back down. Uh, I mean, that's a common thing for people, unfortunately. Um, you would think your friends want to see you succeed, but at the same time, it's a double edged sword. Some of your friends do genuinely want to see you succeed, and some of your friends want you to stay in place because you facilitate things that make their life work. Like somebody that they have as a coping mechanism after a hard day in the situation with relationships or whatever it might be. You're there to go to the bar with them and hang out or do the thing, whatever it is that's your coping thing. It may not be the bar, it could be going out fishing. It could be hunting. It could be any activity, but it's a placekeeper. It just stays there. It's not like you're out to get better in it, and it's a therapeutic thing for them, but they don't want you to change and stop doing it with them because they need you to be a part of it in order for them to get the relief they're looking for. And they may not say anything to you about it, they just act upon it, and then you deal with, somebody who's they're sabotaging you. They're not doing it in malicious intent as much as it is that's survival for them. So failing up, you know who's really supportive. And for a lot of you that are out to fail up, or that actually resonates well with you, you've probably failed a lot of times in front of some of these people, and they, at times kind of hold it against you, or just say, you know what, oh, that's just a thing you do. Well, I'll tell you something to keep in mind as you continue to practice to fail up, and then I'll work on some of the foundation things there. Is Dr. Seuss, before he actually was able to publish his books, uh, he he spent a lot of time trying to get publishers to pick up his book and to put it out there. Uh, I forgot how many times he failed. I think it's somewhere around 50 something times, something like that. You've got a lot of people. The Colonel, KFC. So he later in life is whenever he actually kind of got any kind of notoriety, because he was somewhere in his later life whenever he finally got to the point where KFC started to take off. And he was rejected as well many times. And he kept it simple. It's like, 12 herbs and spices. Just kept it real simple. A lot of people don't make the breakout. at certain times of their life. They got to keep trying and practicing, and then they build up the traits necessary to become successful. But what traits are necessary to be successful is the question, right? Like, that would give you more clarity. But the thing is, we don't really have a blueprint to tell us exactly what success is like. We just see a lot of the destination of what we would consider success. If it's money, then the money is how much money's in the bank, not all the things necessary in order to make that money, the sacrifices required, the the mental faculties, the discipline that's been put into place, the person understands reality by those kind of things. They're not really put into play because it's all that's even assessed because you're just looking at how much money they have in their bank account or some sort of superficial value associated with that, what cars, houses, things like that. Oh, you worked hard. Okay, there's no details associated with that. You could work hard in the bathroom. I mean, taking a crap. You know, it's like it really come up with the details that really truly tell you something different that really makes the difference. And even then, just because that's the pattern and the path that they chose, they still have their unique traits and their characteristics and their support system. From who's been there their entire time in their life, that are actual people that are involved with the way they think and the way they support and the way they're a part of it and how they're involved with that success model, as well as the people they have in their own personal internal counsel. We all have like people that we'd like to lean on at times to get their opinions about like something that's happening in our life. I wish this person was here right now in order to talk about this. You actually start curving your thinking processes in a way that kind of matches that to come up with some sort of information about what they would think. It doesn't mean you necessarily hold like Napoleon Hill talks about having an actual council where there's multiple different characters sitting at the table and he brings a particular challenge to that. It's all internal, it's all in his mind. But the profile for all the people that are sitting at the table, he puts the challenge in front of them and then he goes through his mind about how they would interact based off of, he knows those people or how he knew them or what he knows of them in case it's a person that was before his time. It's pretty fascinating to see how that's utilized in order to understand how to overcome specific challenges in life. But we do this with past, like any loved ones that we've lost, things like that. Like my father, he still holds counsel with me whenever I'm going through certain challenges. At times I ask myself what my father's views of this be, or how would he feel about me if I making these decisions, or what would he do in this situation. Uh, it's interesting when you can start doing that. But you don't know those things when you're dealing with somebody else's success model. You just see what you're able to see. You just see what you're privileged to see based off of what that person's willing to share with you. So your particular path to success will have to be unique to you, but you can use the blueprint other people have used, but there's going to be variable differences. The blueprint just gives you the overall structure for it, but it doesn't exactly mean that every single um, variable inside of that structure is something you're going to be able to recreate with the same effort, same level of resources or accumulation of resources and availability of such. It doesn't mean that necessarily. Those are the things that you'll have to find out along the way. That's why the maturity project for me creates so much more benefit for people because they can say, hey, with what's going on in this particular situation, I can tell that, if I had this, um, I'd be able to achieve that. Well, when you look at 8 areas of maturity, you have access to something else. You can say, okay, if I focus on this, how much of my, so by this meaning like if I have to put a lot of effort into the knowledge based area of maturity, then how much attention is it going to need and what is it going to take from in other areas? Will I sacrifice my physical body in order to, by neglect, or unideal situations like not sleeping at all or not eating the right foods or right, whatever. You may need to make sacrifices financially, get lower quality food in order to get the financial maturity aspect so that you have the savings or the money available to take action. And you need to utilize that approach where you can actually keep it on, you can use it as like scales, if you will. Like, okay, I've neglected the physical body for a bit. I need to get back to that and take care of it. Or I can still put my physical body on a maintenance schedule. That means I don't neglect myself. I'm just not making progress in those areas. If I'm out to lose weight, build muscle, perform better, if I'm out to improve my health in some way, at least I'm holding neutral right now. I'm treading water. because you're not fully neglecting it, and then you can redirect that energy and effort into another category that helps you make progress so that you can see change in your life for that particular area or that particular goal. So it's a great thing about the maturity project when it comes to that. So now to the failing up approach. As far as the foundation goes, if you understand that you fail all the time, it makes the foundation easier to deal with, right? Because you actually put something solid under you. You fail to wake up when you plan to wake up on a daily basis. You might wake up before the alarm clock or right at the alarm clock, no issues. But I'd say that it's pretty common for people to hit the snooze. Well, if you hit the snooze, you failed, right? You failed waking up on time. That doesn't mean don't get up and go to the day. It's just go, oh, okay. If that's what failing's like, and I can just get up and just continue on with my day, it really doesn't hurt that bad. Yeah, I might be set back a little bit because maybe I don't have as much time to get ready, or, I don't get the leisure time that I typically like to allow myself in the mornings before I leave, or whatever, right? You'll have something that takes the place of that loss of time. So that loss of time getting up, let's say you're 10 minutes late from your alarm, so you're 10 minutes behind your actual intended schedule, then that 10 minutes comes from somewhere, right? It might just be the buffer timelines where you like to sit, read the paper or something before work, or go on your social media or whatever it is. It could take away from that a little, right? 10 minutes worth roughly, it's not a big deal, but that's still failing. The goal would be to fail up, which would be, okay, well, I might have failed in that. I'm replacing it with the 10 minutes from my preparation time. And now I'm going to move into the next step, which is going to be, okay, well, I need to put a little more effort into something else. Doesn't mean speed to go to work. I'm not saying that. Don't do that, preferably, because, there's a reason for speed limits. Safety first, right? It could be that you are going to work a little harder at work instead of going, you know what, I'm going to daydream, I'm going to give myself so much time to daydream. Well, perhaps you don't give yourself that much time to daydream. Maybe you say, okay, I'm starting to daydream, but I'm pulling myself back to focus. So your production goes up a little bit. You've actually failed forward, or you failed up if you say, I'm going to do it, and then you get 2 minutes, but you told yourself you're going to get 10. You still failed up because you wouldn't have done it otherwise. Instead of disqualifying the fact that you didn't do the full 10 by saying, hey, it was 2 minutes, screw that, I didn't do very well, it's 2 minutes. Well, screw this. No, you failed up, and just take the win. And then the next time, try for 3, 4, or hit your 10. But if you hit your 10 and you regress back to a 5 after that, like you get 10 minutes the next time you try it, you're good, you hit your window, right? But then you get 5 minutes the next time. Don't give up. So what? You're failing forward, right? You want to fail up. Because your goals are somewhere, right? Well, let's say your goals are up. Okay, well, let's fail that direction. Anyway, all right. Not to continue to beat you up too much over this, but we fail all the time. You forget little things. It's fine. You'll do it. It's the acceptance that the fact you didn't do it is the way you wanted to, but you still put effort into it. And then there's the other things too. For the foundation of it is, you know what? I'm going to lift 350 today at the gym. Okay, you got to lift 350 pounds. In what way? How are you going to lift it? Okay, I'm going to bench 350 pounds. Got it. You're going to bench it. Awesome. So how about this? We're going to bench 350 pounds. Well, you get 340. You tried it. It's the first time going. You get 340, and you can knock out at least 1 rep. Well, you tried to do 350. You didn't quite get there, but you're close. Well, let's say your bench is 110 pounds. You're like, I'm going to do 350. That's a pretty big jump. But hey, if your goal is 350, it may not be tomorrow's lift. It may not be today's lift. But you keep that in mind and you keep failing that direction, you're going to get there. So, all right, next week I'm going to go up by 10 pounds, and you go up by 5. Still made progress. Went up by 2.5 pounds. Whatever it is, you're failing up to your goal. So keep failing towards it. That's it. There's nothing wrong with it. Make a game of it. Have fun with it. I can't tell you, I've loved it when I've come across people in the gym and they're like, dude, I was just after that. I was going to squat 300 today, and God, man, just couldn't get it. 25 pounds off. I'm a quarter off, bro. But you know what? It's cool. because I'm gonna get it next time. Like that is like it's infectious. It's like that guy's fun, or that girl, whomever it is, right? They're fun. If you can make failing fun, more people will be a part of it. They're gonna want to play with you, and you'll inspire other people. I was talking to a friend of mine recently, and she's a very organized person, and I'm absolutely inspired by her. So her roommate is, pretty disorganized. And we've talked a bit about, like just dealing with the frustration and the stress of having somebody that lives in your space, live in your home, and they don't have the same behaviors that you do or the same outlook on things being organized, things like that. And I'm like, you know what? Have you tried just being playful with her? Just changing the conversation in a way that makes it more engaging so that she can hear you differently instead of sounding like you're reprimanding her or chastising her. Not to say that she was doing that, but somebody that has a lifetime of being disorganized, they can feel like they're being chastised just simply because the topic comes up, because they're sensitive to it. I mean, they can be. So she did. She had the conversation. And then the person, a few weeks, I think it's a week or two later, came back and said, yeah, I'm going to get, excuse me, said, yeah, I'd like to actually do that myself. I'd like to do it too. So I'm going to go and get some ledger books and things. And I'm like, you failed up, but you failed up and now you're hitting a target. You wanted to make some changes in her life and you're working on it. Now the next thing, it's beautiful, is that you can build into that. You can build onto that. So what's next? I was like, well, there's a pretty good chance that once the initial effort's put in, she could fall off. If she doesn't have the right structure and strategy and the understanding of the utility of doing this on a regular basis to make the sacrifice for making the effort to put into changing this particular behavior by tracking that, well, you just simply change it a little bit by saying, hey, how can I help you? And what could be the next pitfall? And I'm right here. I'm not going to be here to attack you. I'm going to be here to support you. So be ready for where she falters, and don't make it wrong for it. Make it something that you guys can have more of a game or be playful with. So anyway, yep, just ideas as far as failing up. Why not? Let's do it. Your life will be different if you take it into making it more of a game of it, and don't make it that it's so detrimental. I'd say when it comes to finance, be careful. Fail up with what you can afford to lose, if that be a case of it. But that's another conversation for another time. All right, that's it for today. It's the Maturity Project. I'm your host, Chad Everett Brochures. Share this video with the person in your life you want to make a meaningful conversation with. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, especially if you'd like to get daily influence and insights on things that can make you think and create a new world for you. So, again, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, join the community. Comment in the comment section if you get anything out of today's video you'd like to share, or just to say hi to the community. It's helpful. There's a lot of good people up to doing good things with this channel. So, all right, till next time. Path to hell is paved with good intentions. You don't got to do that. We can make some great things without having to send this whole thing to hell. So, we grow through what we grow. We grow through what we go through. Yesterday's mistakes are tomorrow's opportunities for success. So, let's get up to it. Let's get up to it together. All right, we'll see you guys.